What is up, guys? It is Kelly and I, and something very interesting happened today. It was a trade. As you can see, I have the TSN trade tracker here. Is Ottawa and Toronto. Very big trade. Dion Phaneuf was traded from Toronto to the rival team, Battle of Ontario, Ottawa Senators. There he is, right there. So me and Kelly are just gonna talk about the trade a little bit here. You know, we both have different opinions on it. I personally think Ottawa won this trade. He thinks Toronto won this trade. Kelly, what's your take on it?
Okay, well, start with just from the straight salary perspective. You go, Dion was getting paid, it was like $6 or $7 million a year. And they had Dion Phaneuf, David Clarkson, and Phil Kessel. We're each making, it was probably close to $20 million in total, which in retrospect, probably Brian Burke and it was, in retrospect, a bad decision to give those players that much money. But basically, David Clarkson got rid of, assuming Nathan Horton never plays again, which he probably won't. That one, they got rid of his contract. Phil Kessel, they retain $1 million. And Dion Phaneuf, Ottawa takes on his whole contract. So basically, all three of those players, they freed up $19 million, and they're only retaining about $1 million because of Kessel. And you look at the players getting back, they're not great players. They're like kind of third, fourth liners, AHLers, kind of like great B prospects, but some potential, but not big potential. But they're saying they'll probably be able to flip one or two of them for a first or second round pick, probably the next month before the trade deadline. And they've already gotten a second round pick from Ottawa today. So, like Phaneuf, I always defended him. Thought people expect him to score 30 goals. He's not a 30-goal scorer. He's about a 20-goal scorer in a good year, but he's a tough guy. He plays a role that he serves a purpose. It's not a 30-goal.
Yeah, it's hard to argue. Like,
yeah,
you could say you could blame him for not being offensive many years, but it's hard to argue his leadership. He's definitely I don't think he was at all his leadership ever came really into question.
Look at we saw Kessel last year. You know, calling the reporter saying that he's an idiot and stuff. Yeah. But Kessel, as captain, he handled the media very well, which is a hard thing to do in Toronto.
Yeah, he was great for the community too there. I think he really liked it there, and it's pretty sad to see him go. Even the Toronto fans that didn't like him got to admit it's pretty sad to see him go. So I like your points, Kelly, about the freeing up of the cap, but really that's just, who cares about the cap when you look in retrospect when you're winning a cup? I mean, sure, you need cap space because, the whole due diligence of how the NHL works. Unfortunately, it is the cap era. But really, the Leafs gave up Dion Phaneuf, top 4 defenseman, arguably top 2, especially on a team with depth like Carlson. And, my thoughts what an all-star. But when you put Phaneuf in there, it really, no joke though, solidifies the defense on the back end. Yeah, as you can see, I have general manager up. There's the 7 minutes taken up there. An interesting note about Phaneuf, actually, he didn't have to waive his no trade clause, because he had to submit a list. I believe it was 12 teams. Boston, Chicago were on that list. San Jose and Montreal were on that list, and so was Ottawa. And they made a trade with Ottawa.
Too, because now I'm sure just whoever you're playing, whether you actually wouldn't mind going there or not, you don't like them. But if you look, what was it, 2 years ago, then when they had the road to the Winter Classic, they were mic'd up for the first 4 months of the season. He didn't get along very well with Ottawa and Daniel Everson, so I don't know how personal that was, or if that was just we're playing against each other, I don't like you because
it was a Battle of Ontario,
or if it was, there's a little more to it. But and it's also interesting, the fan, on Saturday night, 3 days ago, he was getting booed by the Ottawa fans every time he touched the puck 3 days ago.
Yeah, but that's going to change, obviously.
Yeah, it's kind of, but
so there's no argue. He's a good player. He's definitely not a bad player. So the way I see it is, Ottawa just got someone that's going to solidify their defense. He's experienced. He's a good leader. The defense is young there. Erik Karlsson, how old is he? 20.
Not that he's only captain because Spezza left. He's young.
He has a lot of skill, but they need that touch of inspiration, and that because Ottawa is what are they? They're on the outside looking in, right? So they're trying to make a push. and even if they're in a playoff spot, they're
on the line of not making
so
it.
They really they were looking for a trade, definitely. But, Jared Cowan, a lot of people don't like him, say he's kind of a bust. McCulloch is a decent, Toronto didn't I'm not saying Toronto, they did so bad, this trade's terrible for Toronto. They got, second round pick, good. McCulloch, he can play in the NHL. Greening, the Lindbergh, that's the prospect. We'll see what comes of him.
And then it's also, do some of those players get flipped for picks?
Definitely.
In the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Definitely. They have a lot to play with there. But,
and here I'm just looking here. Ottawa is 56 points, and the second wild card team right now is the Rangers with 60 points. So they're on the outside looking in, but they're not that far out.
Definitely, and I'm just looking at the cap here, showing
everyone. They're out of Montreal too. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, showing the cap here. As you can see, there's Toronto. This is General Fanager, by the way, great website. There's all the projections, the cap space they have. There's all their signings. As you can see, not a lot of money they're spending on forwards. Defensemen, again, especially with Phaneuf out of there, it looks a lot different. Their injury reserve takes up, they have a lot of people injured right now.
Yeah, Lupul and Bosa.
There's all the buyouts and retain, but we're not worried about that. As you can see, the picks, Toronto has stockpiled 2 first-rounders, a second, well, I'm pretty sure now 2 seconds. I don't know if they've updated it.
Yeah, and there's one of them with Pittsburgh. I think it's next year, actually. With Kessel, there's a possible pick, depending on what happens with
what
playoffs.
It is, Kelly, is if Pittsburgh makes the playoffs this season, they get the first-round pick this season. If they make the playoffs, if they don't make the playoffs, it goes to next year. And if they don't make the playoffs that year, it just turns into a second. So they actually could really lose out. But I highlight Pittsburgh they've been getting better. Crosby's been heating up, but that's a different topic for a different day. So my stance, Ottawa wins the trade. They got top 4, arguably maybe even top 2 if you're pushing it. D-Man, they traded, arguably a bust, a second-round pick. Toronto added some depth, definitely. If you look at Toronto's farm system, they do not need any of those players they gave up at all. They have lots of, fine players, but in the end, Toronto gets an AHL player. Toronto gets freed up cap space, a bust, and a second. I see.
I'll say, from a Toronto, from me being a Leaf fan point of view is, I'll say Toronto won in the sense that they didn't lose. I think Ottawa got what they needed right now to make the playoffs, and Toronto got what they needed for tomorrow.
That's
so.
True.
It's Toronto. That's I think both teams won kind of thing. They got what they needed.
I think Ottawa fans might hate the trade right now, like the trade tomorrow. Same with the Leafs. It's one of those trades you like today, hate tomorrow, vice versa. And that basically wraps it up, Kelly. I think that ends the debate there, buddy. You good?
Yeah.
Any final points there?
I know.
Alrighty, thanks for watching, boys. Catch you next one.